Hi all you music lovers out there. My name is Andy Rodriguez and welcome to my channel. I'm also known as the Black Spinner, and what we do here in this channel is that I go through my vinyl in alphabetical and in chronological order. And today we are going to be doing the letter W. And I went through all my W's. I got quite a bit, but there's going to be a hodgepodge of different kind of genres in here. And if you're new to the channel, also what we do is that I'll go through each album and I will pinpoint certain album tracks that are important. I will also talk about the hit singles on these albums that made it such a big impact for the band and a big impact in the world of music. And also don't forget to subscribe to our channel and go ahead and leave a comment and I'll get back to you. And well, without further ado, let's start to talking. The first person we're going to talk about today, I've got a couple of albums by this man. He is a keyboard virtuoso, and I believe he was the one that made up, he also was the keyboardist for the band Yes, and we'll be talking about the band Yes in our next episode, because we will be hitting the Y's, and the band Yes will have their own episode. But let's get started with Rick Wakeman. This is his solo albums. I've got a couple of them here. This will be Rick Wakeman, The Six Wives of Henry VIII. This is a very interesting album if you are into the English kings and queens. As you all know about King Henry VIII, he had many wives until he would get rid of them because they weren't producing an heir to his kingdom. They weren't producing a male. So there's the pictures of his six wives there, and it gives you a little bio there. And each song is dedicated to each wife, and each one has a certain theme music to them. Here's the inside of it. There's Rick Wakeman with all of his keyboards, and the title to the songs are going to be exactly what you think. They're going to be each song is named after each wife. And they are in order of their marriage. This was released in 1973. And has a little bit of bios on them. A couple of them were killed, unfortunately, or beheaded sometimes as well, because that's how King Henry VIII wanted it. After that, he makes another concept album. This one has a little bit more vocals to it. This is going to be Rick Wakeman, King Henry VIII, and the Knights of the Round Table. Now, this will be so much like the one for King Henry VIII. This will tell the story of King Henry VIII. I'm sorry, not King Henry, King Arthur. And each song on here, let's go through them. Arthur, Lady of the Lake, Genevieve, Sir Lancelot, and the Black Knight. And then side 2, which is one of the best songs on here, is Merlin the Magician, which I'm pretty sure y'all can kind of visualize how it sounds. If not, why don't you go ahead and stream Merlin the Magician. It's a fantastic song. The keyboards are just out of this world. I'm pretty sure if you're very familiar with Rick Wakeman, it's fantastic. And I'm so glad that we can have Rick Wakeman solo albums, because when he gets to the band, and yes, he is the keyboardist, but there's so much music going on. He does have room for himself to expand, but not like this. So it's really great to be able to listen to solo Rick Wakeman. And next we have a artist who came out of, I believe it was Topeka, Kansas is where he was born, and made his name out of Ohio. But also he was the lead singer and lead guitar player in the James Gang. And later on, during his solo career, he will join the Eagles. I'm talking about Joel Walsh. This is his debut solo album, Barnstorm. And he will also employ a multi-instrumentalist multi-instrumentalist by the name of Joe Vitale. And the songs on here, here's the back of it. The songs on here that stick out to me are going to be Here We Go, Turn to Stone, and Mother Says. But if you're looking for Joe Walsh and his great guitar heroics, you're going to find a mismatch on these albums. Especially on this album here, this has a lot of soft rock in there. And it seems like Joe Vitale kind of takes over with his atmospheric background music. And if you're looking for Joe Walsh's electric guitar, just going off on solos, this is not the album for you. And it kind of wasn't the album for me either. Next we have by Joe Walsh, The Smoker You Drink, The Player You Get. The thing with Joe Walsh is that he will have a play on words on a lot of his solo albums. There's the band there with him. There's Joe Vitale right there. Right here he plays drums, flute, vocals, keyboard, synthesizer. So he's a jack of all trades on here. Joe Walsh, of course, guitar and vocals and keyboard as well. The songs on here, again, it's not the guitar heroics you're thinking of. Even though it has Rocky Mountain Way on this, that's how it starts. And Dreams is pretty good. But other than that, this is a very mellow album from him. And Joe Walsh has that voice that when he's singing, it's a nice voice. It's different. I enjoy it, but I just wish that there was a little bit more rockers on here. Next, we have Joe Walsh live. You can't argue with a sick mind. There's the disco ball. There's Joe Walsh in the back. Now, this is a very good album. This has him with his great guitar heroics. And Rocky Mountain Way, Help Me Through the Night, Time Out, Meadows, Walk Away, which is a song that he had a big hit with his previous band, the James Gang. And Turn to Stone is on here. Turn to Stone is going to be used a little bit differently than it was on the previous album. It's going to have a little bit more distortion to it. After that, we got Joe Walsh, So What? Right here, this album here was a kind of a turning point where his solo albums start to get a little bit louder, a little bit more aggressive on here. There's the back of it. And keynote on this album here, there are a couple of Eagles on here. Glenn Frey and Don Henley and Don Felder do help out on this. They backing vocals, backing musicians on here. And the songs on here that stick out to me is Welcome to the Club. Like I said, this is going to be a different album than the previous two. This is going to be a little bit more rockier. Falling Down, and still Falling Down is going to be not soft rock. He takes a step forward to melodic rock on the slower numbers, which will pay dividends on the next album. Falling Down, All Night Laundromat Blues is 59 seconds of just jokey stuff. It's okay. Turn to Stone, Done Again, a little bit more rocker than the previous two times. And Help Me Through the Night is a ballad, but the guitar work is done a lot better, and his electric guitar does stick out a little bit more on there. And Song for Emma was a nice touch. Now here we get the best Joe Walsh album, the best Joe Walsh solo album in my opinion. Not only does his slow songs get more melodic, but the lyrics on here is fantastic. His songwriting is top notch. The playing by each band is just fantastic. I'm sorry, the playing by each musician in the band is fantastic. But seriously, folks, yeah, this is a great album to pick out for Joe Walsh. Here's the inside of it. And the songs on here, I might read them all over and over. Secondhand Store, Indian Summer. It's just a beautiful song. At the Station, all that was on side 1. If you want to stream something that you're going to enjoy by Joel Walsh, and maybe something to listen to in a weekend afternoon, this is a great album to listen to. Tomorrow is really good. A theme for Boat Weirdos is a short instrumental, and it all leads into one of his biggest hits, Life's Been Good. But yeah, this is a great Joe Walsh album. And next we have by Joe Walsh, There Goes the Neighborhood. I like him with a tank on there. That's pretty cool. And here's the back of it. This was released, I believe, in 80 or 81. Things is a good song. Down on the Farm. Side 2 starts with A Life of Illusion, which to me is the best song on this album. And this album does follow the pattern of heavy rock, maybe not heavy, but or maybe not even hard rock, but loud rock and melodic rock. It follows that theme. And next one, yes, I'm still going through Joe Walsh. You bought it, you name it. That's the name of this album. You bought it, you name it. So I'll just name it Joe Walsh. Here's the back of it. And the songs on here, I can play that rock and roll, and he does play that rock and roll on that song. Here we are now. Space Age, Whiz Kids, and Class of 65. And yeah, he does sing a lot of songs that are melodic, and there's nothing wrong with that. And still Joe, there's the inside of it, still Joe Vitale is still employed, so Joe Vitale fills in all the blanks tremendously. And the last album I have by Joe Walsh is The Confessor. There's the back of it. This was from 1985. The songs on here, Problems was a big song for him in the mid 80s. And that's going to be about it for me on this album. I really haven't heard it all that much. There's the inside of it. There's a lot of people, a lot of musicians on here. Some key musicians on here that you might know. Jim Keltner, Randy Newman, Keith Olsen, the Porcaro brothers, Rick Rosas, who played bass on a lot of Neil Young releases, and Timothy B. Schmidt all played on this. So all those names are pretty much a name of who's who in session musicians in LA at that time. And next we have a band out of Los Angeles that came out in the early 80s, 81, 82. They did not quite fit in the hair metal scene. These guys were completely different from that scene. Their sound was tougher. The lyrics were a lot tougher. And they gained a good following from their shock rock. So let's start to talk in. This is WASP. This is their debut album. The lead singer and bass player, Blackie Lawless, will be a big force in the band for until this date. There's the back of it. The debut album is really good if you like that 80s hard rock heavy metal, because this is hard rock heavy metal with kind of I was gonna say with kind of like poppy lyrics, but that's really wrong. Does not have poppy lyrics. I'm sorry about that. That's what I was gonna say, and they don't. This is, in fact, they were one of the main artists that were being talked about during the PMRC hearings done by Congress, where artists like Dee Snider from Twisted Sister, Frank Zappa, and even John Denver went up to speak on behalf of lyrics like these. The songs on here, this album from top to bottom is fantastic. I Want to Be Somebody, Love Machine, The Flames, School Days, Side 2 has Hellion, Sleeping in the Fire, The Torture Never Stops, and On Your Knees. Yeah, this is an album for adults, is what they say, but this is a really good hard rock heavy metal album. And next I have their second album, WASP, The Last Command. There's Blackie Lawless on the cover. There's the back of it. Yeah, the guitarist on here, Chris Holmes, is just fantastic. He really does some really good stuff. On here, the songs on here, Wild Child, Fistful of Diamonds, Action Jackson's really good. But the great song I like about here, the great song I like on this album is Blind in Texas, which, you know, I am from Texas, and they name my hometown of Corpus Christi. On here, he names all these different cities in Texas where they partied at, pretty much. And of course, you know, this was 1985, and this is one of the first stickers. We all know the PMRC stickers that says parental guidance. But this one's different because this one says lyrics may be considered offensive by some audiences. That's the sticker down there. So that's the album. Last in Command. And the third album I have by WASP is Inside the Electric Circus. This one, things start to get a little out of hand. They start to move towards, we'll know in the 90s releases, this starts to get a little bit more of a concept album kind of theme. Here's the back of it. The songs on here, The Big Welcome, Inside the Electric Circus, I Don't Need No Doctors, really good. The Rock Rolls On, and The King of Sodom and Gomorrah. Is this a paper sleeve? Yeah, this is just a paper and sleeve. But yeah, you know, WASP is a very good band. If you've never given them a shot, give them a shot. The first early releases are the best ones. And now we get into one of my favorite bands of all time. This band might be in my top 10. I've got quite a few of theirs, and let's get started. Without further ado, let's get started. In 1994, this band hit the airwaves with a lot of good songs off the first album. In fact, their first album is considered a masterpiece. In fact, the first several albums are masterpieces. And let's get started. Weezer, the Blue Album. This is just great. 1994. I remember when this came out, when the video for Buddy Holly came out. The video has them like inside the TV sitcom Happy Days, and it's a throwback. The songs on here. My Name is Jonas. You know, I've seen Weezer at least 5 times in concert, and every time I get to see them, I'm hoping for My Name is Jonas, and they really do deliver great on that song. No One Else, The World Has Turned and Left Me Here. Buddy Holly, Undone, the Sweater song, I believe was their debut single. Surf Wax, so side 2, Surf Wax America is great. Say It Ain't So, which was their third single released on there. Love it. Love that song. It's one of my favorites on this album. In the Garage, Holiday, and then it ends with Only in Dreams, which is almost a 9-minute tour de force on this song. It goes from just being so grungy to slowing down and to just ending with some great distortion. So the solo album, the debut album by Weezer, one of my favorites, but it's not better than their second album. Pinkerton. This album here is... Let me get into the history of this album. There's the inside of it. This is great from beginning to end. This is going to make my top 20 albums of all time. It is my favorite. I remember when this came out, I was living in Corpus Christi, and it was before the internet, or the internet was just happening, and we were all in college at the time. And I remember a buddy of mine, his name was Abel, or is Abel. He printed out the lyrics for this album, and he made copies, and he passed them out, and we sat down in his living room going through this album for hours. And when this album was first released, it was hated by critics. Even in the end of the 90s, this was considered the worst album release of the 90s. And now it is the critics say it is one of the best albums of the whole decade of the 90s. This has always been a favorite of mine. Let's go through the songs. Side 1, Tired of Sex, Get You, No Other One, Why Bother, and one of my favorite songs on here, Across the Sea. It tells the story of Rivers Cuomo, the lead singer and the writer of these songs. A fan from Tokyo, from Japan, would send him love letters, and he would start corresponding with her, and that tells about their friendship or a relationship. Side 2, The Good Life, El Scorcho, Pink Triangle, Falling For You, and it ends with a beautiful, heartbreaking ballad called Butterfly. I've also got this on CD on a deluxe edition, and I love it. This is one of my favorite albums of all time, Pinkerton. I never strayed from this album. I never thought it was bad. In fact, this is what made me a big fan with every release, except for the last two. Their last two has been very disappointing. But that's me, because they're trying different sounds. They are trying different sounds, and you got to give it to them. So after that, Weezer, the Green Album. And if you're familiar with Weezer, every few albums, it'll just be a color album with the title track. I believe I got this in green. Yes, I do. I've got it in green. And this was a big hit for them as well. You know, it took them a while to come out with this album. It took them a couple of years to come out with this one, even though it clocks in at only about 29 minutes. You know, Rivers Cuomo hit a depression where he was going to stop doing music because he was so disappointed about Pinkerton. He went back to school, which was college. He was going to Harvard at the time. And then they came out with this album here. There's the back of it. The songs on here. Side 1 is almost some of the best pop rock released. Don't Let Go, Photograph, Hash Pipe, Island in the Sun, and Crab. Side 2, Simple Pages, and Oh Girlfriend. But yeah, the Green Album's really good. It took me a while to get used to this because it's completely different from Pinkerton, and that's what I like about it. The Blue Album was different from Pinkerton, and Pinkerton was different from the Green Album. This is really good. And I remember when I had moved to Houston, I had bought this on vinyl. And when I had gotten my first apartment in 2004, I listened to this constantly. Maladro. This was so good. This was a big part of my life during 2004, 2005. This was released in 2002. American Gigolo, Dope Nose, which was a hit song for them. Keep Fishing, Take Control, Death and Destruction, and Slob. Slob is just that whole side 1 is a really good side for Weezer. That whole album's that whole side 1 top notch. Side 2, Burnt Jam, Fall Together in December. Side 2 is not as strong, but that's alright because side 1 is just 100% fantastic Weezer. Maladro. This was not that big of a seller, but it should have been. This is really good. And next we have an album that a lot of Weezer fans did not like. I, for one, love this album. And I remember when this came out, my wife and I were driving around Houston trying to find it on vinyl. And I actually was able to find it at, I think it was Sound Waves or Sound Vibrations or something like that. But make believe, this is a good Weezer release, even though they do take a step back in sound and of not aggression, but Weezer-like aggression. Let me say it like this. But here's the back of it. The songs on here that I'm going to mention, I might read everything on this album. We'll see. Here's the lyrics for everything. And let's see here. Beverly Hills, which was a big hit for them, and where the video was shot at the Playboy Mansion. Perfect Situation, This Is Such a Pity, Hold Me. Peace is a really good song. And We're All on Drugs, which was another release. Also, Perfect Situation was also released. This had probably about three or four songs that were released off of this album. The Damage in Your Heart, Pardon Me, and Freak Me Out, and also Haunt You Every Day is a really good song. This is really good Weezer. This was released in the mid 2000s, late 2000s. Let me get you. I think it was like 06 or 07. Let me see if I can see it on here. 05 when this was released. I was going to say 2200, but that was the address. And after that came the Red album. Like I said, in between certain releases, you'll get a color album. And I believe, yeah, this one is in red. I don't have the blue and blue. And the songs on here, here's the inside of it. And the songs on here aren't as great as the previous releases. But the music on here is starting to get a little bit more. Not that they weren't interesting before, because they were, great stuff. But things start to switch a little bit. They start to really incorporate different sounds. Troublemaker, The Greatest Man That Ever Lived. I like that song. Pork and Beans, Heart Songs, where Rivers Cuomo names different songs from the 80s that were important to him. And Side 2, Dreamin'. And it gets a little cloudy after that. But this is a okay release. It's not bad. It's good. But it's not as exciting as all the others that I was talking about. After that, I have Ratitude by them. Ratitude is a odd album because side 2 are going to have contributions in writing and lead singing by the other band members. I don't know why this is. It's kind of like CCR's Mardi Gras. So I don't know if Rivers just didn't have enough material, or the other guys were saying, "Hey, let us write too. Let us sing a couple of songs too." But side 1 by Rivers is really good. If you're wondering if I want you to, which is a really good song. The Girl Got Hot is an interesting, different rhythm for them. The song Can't Stop Partying has what's that? Lil Wayne singing on here with Weezer, and Weezer. You know the way his voice is. It's kind of annoying. But that song is alright. But I do like the way that side 1 ends. It ends with Put Me Back Together. I love that song by Weezer. It's one of my favorites by them. There's a couple lines on there I could do without. Like, when I'm dreaming, we're eating ice cream. When I dream, we're eating ice cream, which I could do without. But the rhythm and what the song is about is really good. And side B, Tripping Down the Freeways, a fun song. And I Don't Want to Let You Go, and In the Mall are actually pretty good songs. So, it's a little different because they have all the band members are going to have different input into the vocals and into the songs. And the last album that I have by Weezer is also their last one that I liked. And not only did I like it, I liked it quite a bit. This is Everything Will Be Alright in the End by Weezer. This is, I got this for Christmas a few years, probably when it was released, because it was released in 2014. My wife gave me this for Christmas. The inside of it is, not that exciting. And I believe this is just on black vinyl. Here's a little picture in the inside that has the lyrics, which is, just okay. But let's go over these songs, because these songs are so important in the Weezer catalog. Even though this album might have gotten lost in the shuffle. Ain't Got Nobody, Back to the Shack, which was a big hit for them. Eulogy for a Rock Band, which talks about all the rock bands of the 80s that paved the ways for them. Lonely Girl is really good. Da Vinci, The British Are Coming. Go Away is a really good song. It is going to be a duet with female vocals coming from Beach House. And Cleopatra is another good song. And this also ends with a rock opera, if you will. The song is called the Futurescope Trilogy. So yeah, this is a really good album by Weezer. Check it out. A lot of people didn't, so I recommend for y'all to, stream it in whatever way that you stream music. And next, I have a different artist, Weird Al Yankovic, in 3D. This was released in mid-80s, probably 85. If you're not too familiar with Weird Al Yankovic, he does a lot of parody music. And that's what he does here. This was from 1984. There's the back of it. What is so interesting about this is the way the band plays music, and because they sound just like the original songs that they made a parody of. The songs on here, instead of Beat It by Michael Jackson, is Eat It. Good song. The song on here, Brady Bunch, is good. Midnight Star is really good. And I'm not too sure if you've heard that song by the Greg Kihn Band called Jeopardy. I'm lost in Jeopardy, baby. So his version is I lost on Jeopardy. So he talks, that he chose the Daily Double and how dumb he is because he doesn't know that much about, how he answered with an answer instead of that he answered with a question instead of an answer. It's a pretty funny song. And also Polka on 45. If you're not too familiar with Weird Al Yankovic, he's a virtuoso when it comes to the accordion. So that song, they sing a bunch of different classic rock songs mixed together. It's about maybe almost 8 minutes long, and it's so funny and it's so addicting. And on side 2, Mr. Papillo, a theme from Rocky 13. I don't think we're going to get that far, but there were, at that time, I guess 85 had Rocky, I guess 4 at the time, maybe? No, maybe 3. But yeah, Weird Al Yankovic. I started to, after I saw this in my collection, I started to go through different playlists and different songs. And so Weird Al Yankovic is something that I'm going to have to really go through because it's very interesting and very, the musicianship is great. And next we have a band out of England. The lead singer here was the second lead singer to Deep Purple. In a couple of these albums, there are going to have some Deep Purple alumni helping them out, but not on this one. This is Whitesnake Trouble. The lead singer David Coverdale still is. My wife and I were going to go see them this summer with Sammy Hagar and Night Ranger, but COVID-19 happened, and also they backed out because David Coverdale, the lead singer and the creator of Whitesnake, is having surgery, and may he have a speedy recovery. The songs on here, they do a cover of Day Tripper. The songs on here, Take Me With You, Love to Keep You Warm, Don't Mess With Me. And this will also have John Lord from Deep Purple on keyboards. And then we move on to Live in the Heart of the City by Whitesnake. This will have both Ian Pace on drums and John Lord on keyboards, both of them being from the great Deep Purple. And if you haven't seen, I do a whole episode about Deep Purple. The songs on here: Sweet Talker, Walking in the Shadow of the Blues, Love Hunter, Ain't No Love in the Heart of the City, and A Fool for Your Lovin', which will be a big hit for them later on in their career, Whitesnake. And this was from '84. This will have guitar virtuoso John Sykes on here, and Cozy Powell on drums, which Cozy Powell is a drum aficionado. No, wait, I'm sorry, not aficionado, that's the wrong word. But another drum for virtuoso that has played with countless English hard rock bands, including Black Sabbath and others. And also John Lord is also on here. The songs on here are fantastic. This is a really good album by Whitesnake. This will be before they really hit it big, but this is really good. There's the back of it. Let's go through these songs. Slide It In, Slow and Easy, Love Ain't No Stranger. Side 2, Hungry for Love, Give Me More Time, and Spit It Out. But yeah, Whitesnake, Slide It In. And I used to have their 1987 monster album that conquered the world, Whitesnake. I've got it on CD now. I used to have it on vinyl, but it got to the point that when I would put the needle on it, it just sounded horrible. Like there was some kind of film on top of it. I tried to clean it, tried the best I could. I got irritated and just threw it away. Which now, of course, I can't find it. Isn't that the story? So that's all I have for Whitesnake. And what I have next is a double live album. We all know how much I love the double live album. And it's the only album that I have on vinyl for this band. And the White Stripes double live album. This one's under Great White Northern Lights. This was recorded in different shows in Canada. And this was for the what album were they touring? What album were they touring during this? I was reading about it earlier. Well, it doesn't matter. But there's the inside of it. This is a two-piece band that sound like a five-piece band. Jack White and Meg White were a fantastic duo when it came to this. Let's Shake Hands, Black Math, Blue Orchid, Ball and Biscuit, Icky Thump, which is one of my favorite songs by them. I love Icky Thump. And Jolene, which was a cover of a Dolly Parton hit in the early 70s. And the White Stripes do a beautiful cover of it. Just I would say a little bit more heartbreaking than the way that Dolly Parton did it. Might even surpassed it. Also, we are going to be friends. If you're not too familiar with that song, it was the lead song to the opening credits to the movie Napoleon Dynamite. And Fell in Love with a Girl, When I Hear My Name, and Seven Nation Army. Yeah, this is a really good album. Maybe it was Icky Thump. I can't remember what album that they were touring on for that one. If someone knows, please put it in my comments. I appreciate that. And next I have a band, one of the best bands of all time, that came out of England in the mid-60s. They were part of the mod movement and also part of the British invasion movement. I don't have any of their earlier stuff on vinyl, but I start with Tommy by The Who. There's the inside of it. Double album. The Who. This album, I'm a big Who fan. I really enjoy The Who. This album, I'm not going to go through the songs Because if you're familiar with the Who, well, not familiar with the Who, but if you're familiar with Tommy, you know there's so many little songs that make up a great big song, a great big album. They all go together. They all flow together. But if you want me to, it's so hard to, Pinball Wizard, of course, is on here. I'm Free. But that doesn't even get started on what this album is. Just mentioning those two songs just doesn't do it justice. You need to sit down or, stream it while you're doing anything, kind of yard, or, doing whatever y'all do for hobbies and having music in the background. I would say to put on Tommy in the background. There was also a movie made with this, a movie soundtrack, which had an all-star cast on the album. I've got that in my movie soundtracks, which I will go through my vinyl movie soundtracks. But this is the album Tommy, and it's really good. And next I have The Who, Live at Leeds. Live at Leeds. This is a really good album. Young Man Blues Substitute is one of my favorite songs by The Who. They do a really good cover of Summertime Blues on here, and they do almost a 15-minute rendition of My Generation, and also an 8-minute run through of Magic Bus, which is fantastic because Pete Townsend, Keith Moon, and John Entwistle on bass. Those guys can just go on and on and on. And here I have The Who is known for making lots and lots of compilations. This compilation, this was released in 69 or 70. One of their first compilation, which is the one that I love the most because it compilates a lot of their earlier stuff. That's meaty, beady, big, and bouncy. There's the back of it where the guy's older, younger, with them being older, looking at them through the window, and them on the footsteps, and younger staring at them. It's pretty cool. The songs on here, this is going to be greatest hits. This is the greatest hits for them, and from like 65 to 69. I Can't Explain, The Kids Are Alright, Happy Jack. I Can See for Miles, Pictures of Lily, one of my favorite songs by them. The Seeker, I love that song, The Seeker. My Generation, all that on side one. Side two, Anyway, Anyhow, Anywhere is fantastic. Boris the Spider, which has John Entwistle on vocals, I believe. Boris. Boom, boom. Really good. I'm a Boy, Substitute, Magic Bus. This, to me, is one of my favorite compilations, period. Not just by The Who, but just period. Because their earlier stuff was so energetic. And just side one has the energy that The Who were known for their earlier stuff. And after that, this might be in this probably will be in my top 20 when I do my top 20 vinyl. Who's Next? Love this album from beginning to end. There's the back of it with the guys. Baba O'Reilly, which my wife calls Teenage Wasteland. Bargain, my wife, the song is over. Love Ain't for Keeping. The side two, Getting in Tune, Going Mobile, which is a great song. Behind Blue Eyes, and of course, Won't Get Fooled Again. And during this album here, the guys are just in full force, I tell you. I mean, really, when it comes down to it, Roger Daltrey never sounded better. His vocals are just so aggressive. The band is going at you. I mean, this is a good album. Who's Next is one of my favorites. Love it. And next we have a different compilation from them. A compilation of B-sides that never released. Odds and Sods by The Who. There's the back of it. The songs on here. Postcard, Now I'm a Farmer. Too Much of Anything. And also the song that was a big hit off of here was Long Live Rock. Pretty sure y'all are familiar with that song. But yeah, Odds and Sods is an interesting album. You know, it's really good. Next I have right here the band starts to kind of lose me a little bit. The Who by Numbers. Here's the back of it. Kind of lose me a little bit, and I think they were losing themselves a little bit on here as well. However much I booze, which kind of tells you how they were going. Squeezebox is a good song. I like Squeezebox. A lot of people don't, but I do. And Blue, Red, and Gray was an alright song. Yeah. The Who by Numbers. And the last one that I have by The Who is Who Are You? Which to me is just an okay album. The songs on here that stick out to me are, you know, the title track, Who Are You? Love Is Coming Down. Music Must Change, which is an interesting listen through. But yeah, this one's just okay. Like I said, they're going. This was in the mid '70s where, man, everything was just going off the rails for the guys, unfortunately. And next I have a country music legend. I found this. I don't even know where I found it. My wife and I were somewhere. Of course, I was somewhere. But this was interesting, so I picked it up. It was kind of cheap. Hank Williams, 40 Greatest Hits. Here's the inside of it. And the liner notes on here are pretty fantastic for all these songs that are, you know, country classic hits from the early 40s to the early 50s. These are from 1947 to 1953. All these songs that are fantastic all these songs are in chronological order, which I just love. I love to hear compilations that are in chronological order. I think I mentioned this on an earlier episode, because you see the band or the artist grow and how much they've changed. So I find that to be very important. The songs on here. Moving on over, Wedding Bells, You're Gonna Change or I'm Gonna Leave. My bucket's got a hole in it. I'm So Lonesome I Could Cry, of course, was one of his biggest hits. I Can't Help It If I'm Still in Love with You. I might read quite a bit off of here because, you know, this is the greatest hits by Hank Williams, and he is one of the greatest country western singers and writers. Hey Good Looking, I Heard That Lonesome Whistle, Rambling Man, I'm Sorry for You, My Friend, Jambalaya on the Bayou, which is a song that it has been covered from Here to Kingdom Come, from who knows for how long and how many times that's been redone by so many different genres. Long Gone, Lonesome Blues, Why Should We Try Anymore is really good. Nobody's Lonesome for Me, Dear John, I Saw the Light, I Won't Be Home No More. These songs are also just heartbreaking. I'm Sitting in the Woods on Fire, Your Cheating Heart. I'm telling you, Hank Williams, you know, if you young people have just heard his name or have been hearing, you know, Hank Williams the Third, which is just as good. I'm sorry, not just as good, but he's really good too. I like his outlaw country. It sounds so good. But yeah, Hank Williams, give it a go. It can be streamed Maybe ask your grandparents, and maybe your grandparents will be able to talk to you more about Hank Williams. And we are going to close this out with a pair of brothers out of Beaumont, Texas, which is about, roughly about 50, 60 miles east of Houston, going up I-10. They are from Beaumont, Texas. I'm talking about the Winter brothers, Johnny and Edgar Winter. This is Edgar Winter's Roadwork White Trash with Johnny Winter on there, and also Rick Derringer. He of fame of Hoochie Coo, Rock and Roll Hoochie Coo. That's also on here. Rock and Roll Hoochie Coo, Tobacco Road, Turn On Your Love Light, Back in the USA. Do Yourself a Favor, and Still Alive and Well. You know, you're going to have Johnny Winter on here playing that guitar like nobody else can when it comes to country rock, rock and roll, roots rock. I mean, that's Johnny Winter. And here's the inside of it. And this is a double album. Very interesting double album. Edgar Winter takes lead on almost every track. And next are going to be two albums by Johnny Winter, by his brother. Johnny Winter, The Progressive Blues Experiment. This is early on. This might be 69. I can't find the year on here. But yeah, you know, he's great. I really do like his music, Johnny Winter. Like I said, it's country blues. It's hard rock blues. It's Johnny Winter, you know. And it even tells you right here, Winter is hard and heavy in his hypnotic blues bag. Before the recording session, there was Johnny Winter and his guitar. During the session, Johnny became the guitar. And songs on here, you know, a couple of them are going to be blues covers. You know, a tribute to Muddy, which wasn't a cover, which was his own. This has Help Me by Sonny Williamson. Rollin' and Tumblin', which has been covered quite a bit. Broke Down Engine. Also has a great song by him, Black Cat Bone. Interesting stuff. And I believe my buddy Jeremy from Louisiana, which is on the way from Beaumont, probably another 90 miles east of Beaumont. Gave me that one. Also gave me this one. Second Winter. This is an interesting album, and I will tell you why. This is I don't know how to say it. It's a double album with only 3 sides. And let me explain that to you. This is side 3 and side 4, which is completely blank. Side 4 has absolutely nothing on it. It's empty. You can't even put the needle on it. If you put the needle on it, it'll just slide across. It's got no grooves on it. Now, I was reading about it, and Johnny Winter was saying, well, you know, when we were recording the album, he didn't want to cut anything out. But then again, he didn't have enough songs for 4 sides. So, he only recorded 3 sides. The songs on here, there's the band. Songs on here, Memory, Pain, The Good Love, Slippin' and Slidin'. A really good rendition of Johnny B. Good, and also he does a great version of Highway 61 Revisited. He also did that cover on I believe it was Bob Dylan's 30th anniversary. I Love Everybody, Hustle Down in Texas, and then I Hate Everybody. Way to go, Johnny. And Fast Life Rider. Really good stuff. Johnny Winter, if you're not familiar with him, check him out. if you like that guitar, it's just so rough and dirty on there. And the last album that I have for that will represent the W's. This is a great album cover. I love this album cover. Johnny Winter. I bought this one in my hometown of Corpus Christi, and probably about a few months ago. This is called Saints and Sinners. There's the back of it. The songs on here: Blinded by Love, Stray Cat Blues, which is a Rolling Stone cover, and Riot and Cell Block Number 9, and the old blues song Boney Maroney. Yeah, this was released in probably 74, the year that I was born. 1974. Good stuff. Hey, well, thanks a lot for joining me on this journey of going through all my albums. That was the letter W. Let me tell you what's coming up. I don't have anything with the letter X. I do not. But I have 4 more episodes left. Because I'm going to have to do a whole episode of Yes, a whole episode of Neil Young, a whole episode of Frank Zappa, and a whole episode of Texas' very own ZZ Top. You know, I really enjoy doing this. This is so much fun for me. I'm really glad that y'all are having a good time listening to me going through my albums. So please come back to this channel, because after the alphabet, you know, I've been talking about it. I'm going to go through different compilations that I have. I'm going to go through music soundtracks. I'm also going to go through my top 20 vinyls in my picks of all time. I'm also going to go through certain debut albums, historical debut albums that I have in my vinyl collection. So thanks a lot for joining me on this episode for the letter W. And please come back for the rest of what I have to offer and the rest that I have to share with y'all. So, you know, y'all take it easy, take care of each other, and keep on rocking, and I'll see y'all next time. Thanks, guys.